Well, glad you're here.
Hey, you just need to explain. Where?
Listen. Oh, he's trying getting food, huh?
Yeah.
Calling for food. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. We are going to get started. Our time is up. I need to get home. I'm flying to Hawaii at 6 a.m. in the morning. So,
Which means you need to be there at least
Which
at
island?
5.
well, I got to be there at 6. I don't leave. I don't fly out until 9
That still
or
means you gotta
8:30,
get
I
up.
think.
It still means you gotta get up earlier.
Yeah.
Get there an hour before.
Oh,
That's just Hawaii.
I don't-
From your spine into your
I like
brain.
to. I like
And you
to.
have a little pump
I like
in
to
there
not be rushed.
to take out.
What island are you going to?
Oahu.
Or does it move it
Yeah,
back?
we're going over there to see the Polynesian culture and doing the
And there's an
World War II memorial.
All fun things.
Yeah, so we were gonna see that Monday, but now we moved it up tonight to see it on Saturday because if the government goes shut down,
Laie,
they close all the parks.
are you gonna go to the Laie temple?
We'll go walk by it. We will go.
It's a beautiful temple.
We'll go, but we're not gonna do a session there.
That was my
And
temple
then
for-
we're just there for 4 days. We fly out on Friday and come back Monday at 10 p.m.
If you're on campus and see Holly 4, that's where I lived.
Oh, okay, no, very good to know. Good to know. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. We are gonna sing hymn number.
Unknown.
Take a guess.
What's the lesson?
What's this week?
General conference.
The
sing
same
about
prophet.
Very good. Hymn 19, we thank thee, O God, for a
Called it.
prophet.
And listen to a prophet's voice.
Number 19.
I thought about that one too. But hymn 19, we thank thee, O God, for a prophet. After which, do I have a volunteer for someone to give us the opening prayer? Jonathan,
will.
thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay, Abby, thank you. Jonathan will give us closing prayer. So, almost be gone by then. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do it.
Rejoices his glorious gospel. Okay, you want me to say the prayer, right?
Yes, Abby, thank you.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank thee for this day and we thank thee for this opportunity to gather together both in person and virtually. And thank you for the lesson that has been prepared for us. And please help the Spirit to be with us and to guide this lesson and help us know what to share and help us to learn from one another. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I think we're outnumbered online.
What?
Yep.
Are we really?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're evil.
Wait, how many? Are we at?
Well, you have 3 on your with you, Mahaya?
I'm saying.
You guys outnumber us.
You do outnumber us. That's crazy. Did you get your pizza wet?
No,
You saved it?
It's laying around.
Oh, good job. All right. Hey, welcome again. Welcome to class. Thanks for those that are online. Hopefully you can hear us. We shared the screen, so hopefully you're seeing that. We are talking about First Nephi 16 through 18. I do want to start off with do that one. Oh, yeah. I want to start just a little bit with Lehi's journey and just particularly one verse or one thing that happens here. But go to chapter 16, will you? And look at verse 34. What happens?
Ishmael dies.
Ishmael dies, right? And he was buried in a place called
No.
Nahum, right? Nahum, something like, yep. All right, so just something kind of interesting about this, and it's kind of just a kind of a point of fact, but I kind of like it because it gets into this whole thing. Okay, what did Joseph Smith know? What did he not know? As he's translating the Book of Mormon, right? So just a little summary of Lehi's journey up to this point. All right. So they go south at Jerusalem by the borders near the shore of the Red Seas, right?
Mhm.
First Nephi 2:5. He called the name of the river Laman, and that we're in 16, yep. And he calls the valley of Lemuel, right? That's 2, 8 through 10. Nearly a southeast direction, we did call the name of the place Shazar, right? They're led through the most fertile parts in the borders near the Red Sea. We can kind of see it coming down. That's 16 through 14, right? The place which was called Nahum, which is 1634 that we just read, and then we did travel nearly eastward from that time forth over to where they reach Bountiful and ultimately make the ship and leave, right?
Mhm.
So one of the industry thing that kind of nails this together then, we did come to the place which is called Bountiful, right? So something different about Nahum. The Lehites name every new place they go to, right? So for example, they call the name of the river Laman. They call the valley of Lemuel, right? We did call the name of the place Shazar, right? We did come to the land which we did call Bountiful. We beheld the sea which we called Aranthum, right? Now, something different, but they do not name Nahum. The text specifically, verse 34 says, and it came to pass that Ishmael died and was buried in the place which was. What's different?
It was already there.
It's already there, right?
It was already established.
It's already established. All right. So this is kind of the interesting thing, as it turns out. There is a place that was anciently called Nahum. It was in the Dwak Valley in Yemen. The tribe of Nahum inhabited the area. It was located on the ancient frankincense trail at the point where the trail turns from the southeast to eastward, right? Oh, sorry.
Thank
you. Got it.
Got it.
So while Lehi's party passed through at 600 BC, Nahum was a burial ground at least since 700 BC. So it had been there 100 years prior, right? Nahum is the largest ancient burial complex in all of Arabia. Nahum means sorrow, hunger, consoling, and mourning. It's a fitting name for a place of burial, right? So here's the cool thing. Nahum as a name and a place in Arabia was not known at the time that the Book of Mormon was published. Now, how would Joseph Smith ever know that?
Power of God.
I mean, this place does not get, so here's some of the kind of cool things. So multiple altars were discovered in the excavation of a nearby ancient Bar-En temple in Merib. 3 of the altars were inscribed with the word Nahum.
Go back.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Hi, come on in. There's.
Aha, we outnumber you now.
Did you guys eat?
Yeah, we already ate.
Okay, so there's pizza if you don't want pizza, right? So these altars are discovered at the excavation. Within they're inscribed with the word Nahum, right? The inscriptions date back to 600 BC. They explain that the altars were donated to the temple by Athar, son of Sawad, son of Noan, and who was a Nahumite, right? And so right there, and these are the 3 altars, and these are just a couple pictures of them, but right there, there's the word Nahum, the outlined letters in it.
When were these altars found?
So they were discovered, so it was discovered in like the 30s, 1930s in there.
I think it took them a little bit to put it together.
Did you go there?
No, that's Warzone right now.
Oh,
But I think it took them a little bit to put it together because it was inscribed NHM because they didn't have vowels.
they don't use vowels.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of cool that Joseph Smith, if he's putting this in here and he's writing this, he'd have just, I mean, he's writing a place that would be discovered, 100 years later, just out of a lucky.
And not only that, but naming it correctly.
Yeah. So it's kind of
Win a lottery with that kind of luck.
a cool little thing there, just history wise. But anyways, okay, moving on. So let's go back to the beginning of verse 16. If you had a chance when we came down here to mortality, and you had a chance to ask God for 3 things to take with you to get you to mortality, what would you pick? What would you ask him for?
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of- Well, we joke, but man, that's to be born in a country where you can have the freedoms, right? That's not a bad thing to ask for. What else would you ask for?
It would be tempting to ask for a little bit of the memory that I had before.
Okay. Give me moments of where the veil is parted and I can see the
All right.
whole picture, just to keep me on track.
Not the whole picture. That's way too much to handle for mortality. We have no idea. Like, we could study and study and study, and we still wouldn't be able to comprehend everything that we need to comprehend.
Our little brains would pop.
Our brains are gone. So what we would need is, what I would want is just a couple like glimpses or things here and there as anchors of reassurance.
Okay.
Who's to say that we don't have them?
Oh. There you go. Okay, good.
Forget, but our spirits don't.
There you go. Give me some other thoughts. If you could ask God for 3 things to take with you, what would you ask for? Anyone online? You outnumber us?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, still they're up by 1 because she has 2 with the 2. Yeah.
I'd probably ask what King Solomon asked for, and wisdom,
Okay.
gift of discernment.
Okay. Ooh, gifted discernment. So that would be a good one. Good.
Figure out who's lying and who's telling truth.
Yeah.
Okay, superpowers.
Okay. I'm gonna ask that. What's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go to. We got that part in verses 1 through. We're gonna go down to verse 8 and 9. Who wants to read verse 8 and 9 for us?
In chapter 16?
We're in chapter 16.
I can do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. And thus my father had fulfilled all the commandments of the Lord which had been given unto him, and also I, Nephi, had been blessed of the Lord exceedingly. And it came to pass that the voice of the Lord spake unto my father by night, and commanded him that on the morrow he should take his journey into the wilderness.
Okay. So 8, he's fulfilled all the commandments. What are the commandments that he's fulfilled? All the commandments that God's given him.
Receive the brass plates
Get the
and
plate
get married.
and go get
Wives for your sons.
There you go, right? So the Lord's commanded him, you guys do this before you take your journey. So plates, check.
Wives.
Fowls, families,
Life.
check, right? And once it's done, then what does the Lord do in verse 9?
Leave.
He's going to command them that on the morrow they're going to.
Leave and take their journey into the wilderness.
Okay.
Even further.
Okay. So what do those verses teach us about what the Lord feels is important for a successful journey in the wilderness?
Direction and companionship.
Direction. We haven't got to the direction yet.
Well, technically the commandments are spiritual direction,
Okay.
not physical direction yet.
Okay. What do you think what's the relationship between 8 and 9? If you look at the relationship there, what stands out to you about the significance of the relationship that the Lord's introducing there?
I think it's how revelation works, you know. Once you receive some, then you act on it, and once you've acted on it, he trusts you with more.
Nice. I love that. Isn't that a great principle that when we start to keep the commandments that the Lord has given, what does he do? Then we start to progress, right? We start to progress. That verse will look a whole lot different if Lehi and his family doesn't keep those 2 commandments. Right? It opens everything up. So I love that. Thanks. Who was that? Abby, thank you. I thought that was it.
Brother
Very
Ditton,
good. Yes, please.
can I share comments?
Yes, please.
I thought of the video from Elder Bednar about patterns of light, that sometimes we receive enough revelation, just enough to see what's ahead of us directly. He likened it to driving a car when it's foggy. You have enough light to just see right in front of you. And I think for Lehi and his family, they didn't know that eventually they'd have to build a boat and cross the ocean. They just knew that, okay, all I have to do right now is go back to Jerusalem and get the plates. And the Lord trusted them with more and more, line upon line, precept upon precept. So I'm learning that as we act on the light that we have, then the Lord gives us more.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, they have no idea what's I mean, how long does it take them to journey in the wilderness?
8, 9 years.
It's 8 years, right?
Yeah.
They're just the beginning of this. I think if you had asked them right there, they would have never imagined in their life, in all the world, that this would be an 8-year journey. So I love that. And all this is like, they're just going to start their journey and start taking it. And the Lord shows them just enough to get them there.
Well, this was after Nephi received his revelation about what's all going to happen.
Yeah.
So does he know that it's going to be like he was shown a lot? Does he know that, or does he remember it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. He writes a small part of what he saw, right? Lehi writes a small part of what that's true. So very good. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And Nephi's a great example of that. I mean, he just has constant pressure on him. You know, every minute of this journey. You can see a lot of ways and reasons why he could give up, but he doesn't. So I love that. Great insight there. Thank you. Good. Anyone else on there? All right. Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
I'm going to show you a word.
Okay.
Anyone know what it means?
No.
Well, look on your phone. Not looking on your phone. Are you ready? Here's the definition of it. It's the ancient art of divination by the use of arrows.
Wow.
All right. So this is kind of an interesting thing. You see this, and you don't know it's there, but it's there. It's throughout the Old Testament. There's examples of this. All right. It's this idea of so I'll give you an example. Here's what's my, oh, here it is. Here's the one I want. So this is Ezekiel 21, 18-21, right? It says, the word of the Lord coming to me again, saying, also thou son of man. Ezekiel always referred to himself in his writing as
Son of man.
Son of man. That's how the Lord addresses him. Also, thou son of man, pray thee 2 ways, that the sword of the king of Babylon may come. Both twain shall come forth out of one land, and choose thou a place, choose it at the head of the way to the city. Appoint a way that the sword may come to Rabbah of the Ammonites, and to Judah in Jerusalem to defend. For the king of Babylon stood at the parting of the ways, at the head of the 2 ways, using divination. He made his arrows bright. He consulted with his images. He looked in the liver.
No.
All right.
This looks like witchcraft.
What that?
Sounds like witchcraft.
It is. It's right. Okay. So hold your thought on this. All right. So this is what they really did. They had these arrows, and what they would have is they'd have 3 arrows, and one arrow would say, God orders me, or hath commanded, or do thou. On the other was written, God forbids me, or hath forbidden, or doeth not.
So those things where like you shake it and it tells you your fortune.
Kind of like a magic 8 ball, right?
Magic 8 ball.
Magic 8 ball. And then the other one was, and then the third one was blank. So when these kings would come, they would make a decision. They'd have their archers go out there and they'd shoot these 3 arrows, and whichever one went the furthest,
Is the one
that was the decision. That made the decision of what they would do. So Jehovah is telling Ezekiel here, here's what the king's going to do. He's going to stand at the way, and he's going to shoot his what he's going to do. And the Lord is implying that I will direct what's going to happen here, right? So the other thing, this was Nebuchadnezzar, he was kind of famous for this. King of Syria is famous for this. But they would take prisoners and kill them and sprawl their livers out on the ground. And then they'd have their magicians and things look at it, and that's how they would divinate with so that's what he's saying there. They'd look in the livers, they'd consult with images, they would do these things. So this is happening throughout the Old Testament, right? I mean, it's kind of weird, right? I love what Nibley says. He goes, when people lack revelation, they commonly come to think of power as residing in things. When people lack revelation, they commonly come to think of power as residing in things. Now, what is Satan? What is being imitated here?
God's power.
Yeah, God. Okay, God's power. Could we narrow it down to anything else?
Revelation.
It's revelation, right? This is revelation. So here in 16, we're introduced to the third thing. What is it?
Leona.
It's the Leona, right? So here's the Leona. Lehi walks out and finds the
Thing with arrows.
thing with arrows, right? Now, there's some interesting things about the Leona. God gives them this, right? This is something that God gives them.
I'm trying to do notes here. Okay, leave me alone.
What are you doing?
She's jabbing at me about some of my hobbies. Go away.
Oh, I didn't say anything about crystals.
See, I didn't even have to say it.
I already know it. All right, so here we go. Here is all. So we're going to look at some verses here. We're going to go to 10, 16. Who wants to read 10?
Me.
10. Who wants to read 16? 16, 28, 29. Someone online?
Okay, 28, 29.
No, 28, 29. Denise. And then Amelia, you have 30, 31.
All right.
Oh, you know what? Hey, I cancel that. Let's just do this. This will be don't read them out loud. Just read it on your own, really. This will be faster because I want you to look for just kind of identify the things in there. What are the things that, the functions of the Liahona that you see in these verses? And why do you think such a gift would have been helpful to Lehi and his family in this journey? All right, just think of that as you read those on your own. That'll be easier.
Okay.
Identify the functions. Why do you think such a gift would have been helpful to Lehi and his family in this journey? I'll give you a couple minutes to read it, and then we'll come back together and start to discuss it.
What you listening to?
Everything.
I can hear.
That'd be President Nelson.
Doesn't sound like President Nelson. I wouldn't say anything, but it's distracting me.
Need more time?
Yeah.
All right. What'd you find? What are some of the functions of the Liahona that stood out to you? Why would that particular function be of value to Lehi and his family as they're traveling in the wilderness? Yeah.
So on verse 10, it says there were 2 spindles, one would point, and one pointed where they should go to the wilderness. So that's pretty useful knowing where to go.
Okay.
Instead of pointing true north, it pointed direction you should be going.
That would be nice. Why would that be nice?
Amelia has a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Amelia.
Oh, well, it points to the more fertile part of the wilderness, which is useful because they don't know where the food is. Or they
Okay.
don't have food readily available.
Okay. And they don't know where they're going, right? If you have a compass and if you're in the forest and you have a compass and you don't know where you're going, what good is it?
Not very.
It's not good. The only way it's good is if you don't know where you're going. Then it's got to be something that gives you direction so you can get out, right? Or get where you don't know you need to go. Lord knows where he's taking them, but it's not helpful for them to have a compass that
They don't know.
just points north because they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
That kind of compass doesn't work.
Northeast, south, or west.
Right. It has to be something that gives them direction where they are going. So here we are in mortality. Do you know where you're going? We know where we want to be,
We
right?
know what we're aiming for.
We know where we're aiming for, but so how does that apply to us today? Okay. I like it. Good. Good. We're gonna come back to we're gonna come back to that because that is an interesting one. Hey, I like that one. There's not that's you think about that one, it's kind of a weird statement that he's saying there. If you think about what they have. Okay, I love it. Good. Thank you. Amelia, did you have your hand up? I thought I saw another hand up there. Oh, we lost you.
I actually lowered it. I did have a comment, but I don't know if it's related to what you just asked.
That's okay. You can change gears with us.
Okay. I guess I liked how it said it worked according to the faith and diligence that we give unto it. And I just thought about how like all our tools, like the scriptures and I don't know, come follow me, just everything like that also works according to the faith and heed which we give unto it. Like it works better when we work it with faith.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. What are the scriptures without faith and diligence? Just black ink on white paper is all it is. That's all it is, yeah. What's President Nelson without faith and diligence?
Man.
He's a spry 99-year-old. I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
He might as well just be that to us. Without the faith and the diligence and the paying heed to it.
Rinaldi has
All it
a
is.
comment.
Yeah, Rinaldi, go ahead. Rinaldi.
Thank you. I love that giving heed to the Liahona for them and for us in our day, giving heed to the words of the Lord through the scriptures and our prophets gets us from where we are now to where the Lord knows we can be, to receiving the promises and blessings he has for us.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Good. Give me some more. What are the other things that stood out to you? Functions of it, how would that be helpful?
Written and changed from time to time according to the faith and diligence. So we already talked about that, but the fact that it wasn't necessarily just a compass, it was also giving you hints. So it was as close to a GPS as they were going to get these days.
Yeah, this thing talked to you. Well, it gave you words. It had writing on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we apply that today? How do we apply that analogy to today? What do we apply it to?
Continued revelation. I would apply it to continued revelation from modern day prophets.
Okay.
Right? Because it's great that Noah was told to build a ark, but we don't need to know that for this day and age. We need a living prophet to give us instruction for the changed times.
Okay. I love that. Listen, if that wasn't true, then all Jehovah would have said what to Lehi was, go look at the brass plates.
Yeah.
Right? He's given them their circumstances, their situation. What Joseph Smith say about the revelations today? Revelation adapted to the situation, to the circumstances in which the children of men find themselves in is different than what they were in other times. And people get caught up in that today. That becomes a stumbling block for a lot of people because we get this idea that God is unchangeable, and we misapply that to
He will never give revelation.
revelation.
Right.
Mhm.
That's majority of Christian churches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think and then people misapply that to truth. They think, well, if truth never changes, and that's something totally different, right? God is truth, right? He is the way, the truth, and the life. He will give us what we need in the circumstances we are. And sometimes that may be different than what he told other people. Joshua, he says what? Thou shalt kill every
person, every
man, woman, and
child and beast in the
everything.
Everything must be slaughtered.
Everything must be slaughtered. And doesn't that, and we also apply to the New Testament with the letters that they wrote to the different churches.
Yeah.
Like we kind of poke fun at the one of like, no woman shall speak in church.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a hard one because we don't know the context for what he's writing, what he may have been saying, what he didn't say. It's hard to take that. And here's what we do know today, right? I mean, we could take lists. As a matter of fact, I created one. I mean, everything that the Lord has said today, and what the brethren has said, and what our the sisters in our councils have said. Our general young women's and primary and relief society, they did our testimony, the roles that they play in the leading council of the church. So yeah, but that's a great example, right? So what about these? How is the the writing change from time to time? Have you ever experienced that in your scriptures?
A verse something will.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Renati, thank you. Yeah, Renati, go ahead.
I was just thinking of how the Lord created this device that could change. You know, this is like 600 BC. There's no GPS, there's no modern advances. I'm amazed that Heavenly Father can do that. That He created this from thin air. They woke up, it's right there. It's just teaching me that the Lord is serious about doing His work, and nothing is impossible to Him. If He wants to give them a modern day compass in 600 BC, He's going to do that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, and that kind of brings me back to the thing, what you're saying there, Renati, and what someone else has said it earlier. I mean, if I'd have had an iPhone 15 or 14, I don't know what I own now, 14 maybe. If I take my iPhone 14 back to when I graduated from high school, what are people thinking? I mean,
I think they'd be asking how much for it, though.
This is some pretty serious stuff. I mean, if you had to, I mean, there's.
I'm pretty sure.
I can access.
I'm pretty sure that they made a movie called Back to the Future that is basically
It would have been an incredible. I mean, it would have just been mind-boggling. I mean, back then, I mean, this is when the internet was just starting, right? I mean, I remember when I went to my first computer. I mean, I remember this, right? But everything was in books. I mean, the encyclopedia. To sit there and go, hey, on this little device, I can pull up encyclopedias, thousands and thousands and thousands of volumes.
Typewriters were still being used as the
typewriters. I went through high school on a typewriter.
Of typing out letters.
That's crazy. The scriptures, I can pull up the whole scriptures. I mean, I can go to seminary and everyone is thumbing through their scriptures, and I got it on a phone like this. I can go scripture mastery, man. I'm just kicking butt the whole time, right? Because it's just right there. Now you think about this. They have a device that points where they need to go. They have a device that has writing on it from time to time. That just has to seem to me like that would just be a beyond comprehension as they're sitting there around and looking at this thing, wouldn't you think? But yet, how do they describe it? As a small and
simple thing. Didn't they say it was a curious workmanship?
Curious workmanship. Yeah. It's curious. I mean, there's just everything about this is just unbelievable. And yet Nephi describes it as a
small.
And it's so small and small and simple that most of the time in their journey, what are they doing with it?
Ignore it.
They ignore it.
Yeah. They're ignoring it.
They ignore the thing. That's an interesting thing to me. This thing is just ought to be like the most amazing thing that they've ever seen. Yet it's so small, simple. Most of the time they don't even pay attention to it.
And the same could be said for scriptures. And the book that scriptures are technically a small and simple book, but majority of individuals ignore it.
All right. If we could take you back and drop you in 1847, Salt Lake Valley, right? Okay. They're out there kicking sagebrush and planting a stick where they're going to build the Salt Lake City temple. And we drop you there and you tell them, hey, I come from a time where there are 200 temples announced or are being built. You're going to, in 200 years, in 100,
they put us in the loony bin.
In 150 years, you're going to be able to drive from Cache Valley to Payson and drive by 17 temples. what would they think?
Astounding.
Well, I mean, the first would be what's driving in.
Right. They would just
Driving in there,
right?
driving in anything other than a wagoning stagecoach.
Yeah, we live in this time of great. I mean, we have access to. I mean, we're a little bit soon. We're going to have one just right next door to us, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we can drive to. I mean, within 4 or 5 hours, we can drive to how many temples? What,
Quite a
8 or
few.
9 temples around here?
Yeah.
Within 4 or 5 hours. Is it a small and simple thing? Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you know, and this is always the thing, and I've never worked this out in my mind. Maybe you guys have. Nephi doesn't. To me, Nephi doesn't need this thing. Does he?
Mm.
I mean, he's already had revelations. The Lord has already shown him stuff. It seems like Nephi is quite capable of receiving the revelation and knows where to go to get it. Right. I think the Lord has given them, and that man, if they're diligent and this thing was going to be a great asset to them in their journey. But if they don't give the diligent heed, it just becomes an object of curious workmanship, and they don't even pay attention. Remember, they're on the boat, and what happens?
Nearly.
It stops working,
Mm-hmm.
and they start going backwards. Right? They're driven in the opposite direction of where they want to go.
Are you saying that Nephi didn't need the Liahona?
Well, so this just brother didn't, right? I'm gonna go someone left shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that up to this point, he has received revelation without the Liahona, right?
Right. So maybe the
Agree.
Liahona is just a confirmation for those maybe with a little bit less faith.
Yeah, I
That's what I was gonna
guess.
say that it wasn't for.
Right. Well, and this thing is a type and shadow for what?
for prophets today.
It could be prophets,
It could be prophets, it could be modern revelation. it could
scripture,
be-
modern, it could, but I think the big one is it's a token symbol of the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Ghost. I was
Isn't
gonna, yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna kind of pretty much say along the lines of what Maheo was saying was that I don't think it was for Nephi, and I don't necessarily think it was for Lehi. I think the Liahona was for Laman and Lemuel and the sons of Ishmael, who really weren't in for this at all, who were probably just barely agreeing to go with this, and they just didn't want to go through the trouble of turning back because they know they'd get lost on the way back. So it was more for to show that God is taking care of them and God is guiding through them, guiding them along. But the Liahona was a little bit of proof for that. And as we said, if they lose faith in that, it's just God giving them another chance with another chance with another chance for them to believe and to try to get back onto the straight and narrow with the iron rod.
And listen, and I don't know what it meant to Lehi and Nephi, other than I'm just saying that they had up to that point been able to receive revelation. The Lord had done a great deal of communication with them. I mean, obviously, Lehi's a prophet, right? He has the theophany experience and sees God on his throne and receives the book and all that, right? So I mean, Nephi's had that experience of the grand tour. So I think it's an important element to them that would have made their journey a lot more fluid and fruitful had they paid as a whole more attention to, right? Right. Nephi didn't have to do that, right? Right. 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 Yeah, listen, there's a shadow in that thing to us today that's so relevant for us today. I love that. Matter of fact, and I just love this one part. Let's just really quick go to DNC 30, will you? DNC 30 verses 1, 2, and 3. Who wants to read this one for us? DNC 30, 1, 2, and 3.
I can do it.
David Whitmer, here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Behold, I say unto you, David, that you have feared man and have not relied on me for strength as you ought. But your mind has been on the things of the earth more than on the things of me, your maker, and the ministry whereunto you have been called. And you have not given heed unto my spirit and to those who were set over you, but have been persuaded by those whom I have not commanded. Wherefore, you are left to inquire for yourself at my hand and ponder upon the things which you have received.
What do you think he means in verse 3?
You are not given any more information until you can handle the stuff that you've been given.
Yeah. You are left to inquire at my hand. Right? Interpretation is what? You're gonna have to, because you're not following, you're gonna have to try to figure this out with your own reasoning. You might as well take Magic 8 Ball and go,
Yeah.
thou shalt not, that whatever. But that's what he's saying. When we do this stuff, then we are left to our own devices. We're left with our own way to figure it out. And that's not how the Lord wants us to do that. He wants us to receive that direction, receive that guidance in a way that he's given to us today to do that. And that's a scary place to be when you don't have access to that power and that confidence that you can receive direction from God. And especially as you guys are right now, you're at that phase in your life where your biggest decisions you're going to make right now are happening right now for you. These are the decisions that are going to go through that with a magic 8-ball, a quiver full of 3 arrows. Go on. Should I go here? Should I go there? Or should I do this? And whichever one goes furthest, that's what you do. That's a scary way to go about it. Not that the Lord is always going to say, but at least you can go with confidence going the wrong roads in Revelation, right? You remember that story that the Elder Holland told, right? So just last thing, we have General Conference coming up, right? How do we apply this to General Conference? What's your takeaway? You think about the Leah Hall, you think about these things we just talked about. What is something you go into General Conference this weekend thinking about? Yeah.
Something that's been coming to mind for me about General Conference is that we need to keep our minds open and our hearts soft. There are some things that we have a hard time receiving and listening to. So these are things that we have to be open and available to receive what it is that they're trying to teach us.
Okay. I love that. Sometimes the pointer may point this way and we wish it would point that way, right? But we have to, right? These things are going to come. You're going to know. You're going to receive these feelings and these impressions. So I love that. Yeah.
And going along with that, once we receive those impressions and instruction, we then have to act on them.
Okay.
Right. It does this.
You got to heed.
It does no good. Yeah, it's great that the Leahona said go east, but if I'm just gonna refuse and stay here, what's the point of the Leahona saying go east?
Okay.
I mean, I've argued with the GPS before, but if it's a Leahona, I think I would trust that source a little bit better.
Hello. You're gonna receive impressions. Will you act? Will you heed it? Will you not heed it? There becomes the big decision, right? That really does have bearing on your progression. I love it. Give me a couple more and we'll end. Online, anybody, anything you're thinking there?
I guess I was just thinking, like, if you go in expecting that you will receive direction or answers to your prayers, then like probably that will increase the chances of that happening.
Yep. I love it. I mean, this is a time for receiving answers. It really is a time. If you would ponder and you would think and go into Saturday morning and looking for answers to questions that you really do have, you'll come out the other end with some impressions. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
This is your Disney reference for the night, Abby. A movie that maybe not many people know is Brother Bear. And he was told that he has to fix what he did wrong when he got turned into a bear, and his reaction was, I didn't do anything wrong. And over the entire journey, he still doesn't think he's done anything wrong until it like hits him like 3/4 of the way through the movie, and then he feels terrible. And then he doesn't know how to fix it, but he has to learn how to solve this mission of his as he goes along. He's not given all the answers right up front because he's not ready to receive the answers right up front.
Right.
I love that movie.
Well, guys, have a great weekend. Have a great General Conference. I hope that you there's stuff to get out of it, and I do hope that you'll listen and have a great experience. And I think there's always something cool about conference. If you walk out, Sunday ends and you're like, part of you feels a little rebuked and a little bit like, man. Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I think the Lord. Yeah, I think there's something good about that. That's the Lord, the Spirit that kind of gets us out of our comfort zones a little bit, and that's a good thing for us. Guys, thank you. Have a great night. Let's have a closing prayer. Let's see. Oh, Jonathan, You ready? Maybe. No maybes.
Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us come to Institute tonight. Let's hope we have a good night and let's hope we have Christ's sake and Jesus' sake.
Amen.
Amen. Sorry, I should have moved that mic closer to me. Guys online, thank you for coming. It was great to see so many of you there.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Night. That was
Huh?
wonderful.
Thanks.